Have you ever noticed how some women don't flirt in the way you might expect? They rarely make their intentions obvious, especially when it comes to mature men. Instead, they often test your awareness quietly. Women over 50, in particular, interact differently with men. They don't want to appear needy, they don't want to seem too eager, and they carefully observe the subtleties of your presence. This is something most men miss entirely. A woman who is drawn to an older man tends to ask very specific questions. On the surface, they seem harmless, almost casual, but beneath them lies a psychological message, a way of measuring your emotional landscape. Before I share what these questions are, consider this: engagement matters. If you've ever realized too late that a woman was signaling her interest, acknowledging it in the comments or tapping the like button helps this message reach other men who need to understand these cues. Many men over 50 assume that younger women, or even women their own age, don't notice them. The reality is very different. Mature men often radiate a type of presence and confidence that can be incredibly attractive, but only if they understand how women communicate subtly. The challenge is not with women, the challenge is with misunderstanding. It's the assumption that nothing is happening, that she is simply being friendly, when in fact she may be inviting you in. Women rarely show interest directly. Their signals are quiet, almost invisible. They test your emotional steadiness, your presence, and your ability to notice the small details that indicate true engagement. Feminine psychology is intricate. When a woman begins to feel safe with a man, emotionally, physically, and intimately, her energy shifts. Casual conversation becomes intentional curiosity, and the questions she asks start to reveal more than information. They reveal intent. The questions women ask are designed to uncover three key things: your strength as a man, your emotional and practical availability, and your awareness, whether you can perceive her subtle cues. And this is where the two essential questions come in. Many men over 50 expect clear, simple signs because that's what they were used to. But women today, even older women, communicate differently. They rarely say directly, "I'm attracted to you," or "I want to be close." Instead, they explore, they test, and they watch how you respond. A woman's carefully chosen questions function the way men's actions do. When a man is interested, he demonstrates it through gestures, assistance, support, or protection. When a woman is interested, she uses questions to create a pathway for emotional closeness. She's not prying, she's testing. She's checking whether you are emotionally open and steady, whether you can notice what lies beneath the surface, and whether she can feel safe leaning into your world. These two questions are consistent across cultures, ages, and backgrounds because they come from a deep psychological pattern. They are not random. The first question is about your availability, not your schedule, but your emotional space. She wants to sense whether your life has room for connection, whether you are open to someone entering your world. This is her way of saying, "I want to know if I can come closer without pushing against resistance." The second question is about your direction, not your job title or income, but your inner clarity and purpose. Women do not gravitate toward men who drift through life. They are drawn to those who have steadiness, a sense of inner movement, and emotional alignment. This question tells her whether your presence feels anchored or unstable, whether your life has a trajectory she could imagine herself walking alongside. Most men take these questions at face value and give literal answers, missing the deeper meaning. But a man who is grounded, calm, and aware understands the message. He knows these questions are invitations, signals of potential closeness, and steps toward emotional intimacy. When a woman asks, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" she's not asking about loneliness. She's assessing your openness, your availability, and whether she can enter your life without forcing her presence. When she asks, "What are you looking for these days?" she's probing your emotional and relational direction, your clarity, and your sense of purpose. Answering these questions thoughtfully, without over-explaining, signals calm confidence. You don't need to impress. You don't need to justify. A response that conveys openness, presence, and intention can make her feel seen and valued, which is exactly what she's seeking. Women respond not to grand gestures, but to the emotional energy that communicates steadiness, awareness, and receptivity. These two questions, simple as they seem, are rarely asked casually. They are emotional checkpoints, subtle invitations, and critical moments for connection. A woman who poses them has already pictured herself close to you and wants to know if your life is a space she can safely enter. Miss them, and the opportunity often does not return. When you understand the meaning behind these questions, your approach changes completely. You no longer treat them as small talk or casual curiosity. Instead, you recognize them as emotional openings, invitations to step into her world with presence and awareness. How you respond matters more than what you say. Women are not looking for perfection. They are looking for clarity, calmness, and a sense that you are emotionally awake. The first question, do you spend a lot of time alone? Is about availability. She's gauging whether you are emotionally open, whether your life has space for someone to share it with. She wants to see if you can create closeness without resistance. Most men answer literally, yes or no, but that misses the point. A wise, grounded response communicates both honesty and emotional openness. For example, saying something like, I enjoy my routines, but I'm always open to meaningful company, or I value my space, but I love sharing moments with someone special, sends a clear message. You are not desperate, but you are receptive. You are steady, but not closed off. This subtly signals that she could be a part of your life without disrupting your balance. Women sense this energy immediately. And the second question, what are you looking for these days, that is equally important, but it focuses on your inner direction. She isn't asking for a list of goals, achievements, or plans. She wants to understand if your life has purpose, movement, and emotional clarity. A man who drifts through life, unsure of his direction, creates uncertainty. Women instinctively shy away from that because they want to invest themselves in someone who is anchored, intentional, and capable of emotional leadership. Answering with clarity doesn't require long explanations. You don't need to overshare or justify. Simple intentional statements work best. Saying something like, I'm focusing on meaningful connections and building a life with purpose, or I'm creating a chapter of simplicity, joy, and presence with the right people, communicates your steadiness, your values, and your openness. This invites her to imagine herself walking alongside you without pressure or force. Women pick up on this immediately. They feel the difference between a man who is present, emotionally awake, and moving with intention, and one who is emotionally adrift. These two questions are not arbitrary. They are the key to opening the door to emotional and physical intimacy. Miss them, and you lose the moment. Notice them, respond with calm confidence, and you create a magnetic pull that naturally draws her closer. Many men over 50 underestimate the subtlety of female signals. They may notice laughter, smiles, or casual touches, but fail to see the psychological checkpoints hidden in conversation. The truth is, these moments are not random. They are carefully placed by women who are assessing safety, openness, and alignment. They want to know if they can be emotionally close without fear of rejection or disappointment. This is why presence is so important. When she asks about your alone time or your current focus, she's testing your emotional maturity. Are you calm under her subtle examination? Are you aware of the signals she is sending? Can you respond in a way that communicates strength, steadiness, and openness without overreacting or withdrawing? How you answer shapes her perception and the trajectory of the connection. Emotional intelligence matters more than charm, wealth, or appearance. Women over 50 are looking for a man who is grounded, present, and clear. They have lived enough life to see through superficial gestures. They want someone who resonates emotionally, someone whose energy communicates calm confidence, reliability, and an authentic sense of self. The beauty of these two questions is that they reveal both sides of emotional readiness. The first question shows your capacity to create space and intimacy. The second question shows your direction, clarity, and purpose. Together, they form a map for a woman to decide whether she can safely invest her emotions and attention in you. Most men respond incorrectly because they interpret the questions literally. They give practical answers instead of emotional ones. They explain, justify, or overshare. But the most effective responses are brief, grounded, and reflective of your presence. You acknowledge the question, demonstrate awareness, and subtly invite her into your space without pressure. Women sense this energy immediately. When your response communicates calm emotional availability and intentionality, she feels encouraged. She senses safety. She senses the possibility of connection. And that is what turns subtle curiosity into genuine attraction. It's not about impressing her. It's about being fully conscious of your own energy, your emotional rhythm, and the tone you bring into the conversation. These principles apply across contexts, whether you meet her at a cafe, in a bookstore, at a friend's gathering, or even online. A woman's questions are her gentle tests, and your responses are opportunities to demonstrate presence. Missing these opportunities is easy, but recognizing them consistently sets you apart. Women rarely ask these questions to men they aren't drawn to. If she's asking, it means she's already imagined herself in your world and is evaluating whether closeness is possible. Understanding this changes the way you perceive interactions. They are not trivial, they are not casual, they are emotional invitations. When you respond with awareness, the energy shifts. She feels warmth, safety, and the potential for something deeper. Once you understand these two questions, you begin to see interactions differently. You notice the small openings, the subtle signals, and the moments where a woman is inviting you into her emotional space. Presence becomes your superpower. Calm, steady, and aware responses communicate far more than words ever could. Women are drawn to energy, not explanations. They sense clarity, emotional availability, and intentionality in your presence. The first question about how much time you spend alone is an invitation to show balance. It's your opportunity to demonstrate that you are self sufficient, but not closed off. You can express that your life has rhythm and structure while remaining receptive to meaningful connection. Responses that reflect calm awareness, such as "I value my time, but I always make space for someone special," signal that you are emotionally open without being needy. This creates a bridge, a quiet invitation for her to step closer. The second question about what you are looking for is your chance to reveal your direction. Women are attracted to men who have purpose and movement, men who know who they are and where they are heading emotionally, physically, and relationally. When you answer with clarity, "I'm focusing on building meaningful connections and living intentionally," you demonstrate that you are emotionally awake and available for depth. You show that you are not drifting through life, but moving with focus and integrity. This gives her confidence in you and opens the door to intimacy. These interactions are subtle, yet powerful. Most men miss them because they expect overt signals or explicit interest. They may notice gestures or smiles, but overlook the underlying emotional invitations. Women rarely repeat these questions. Once the opportunity passes, the door closes. Recognizing the moment and responding with presence is what makes the difference. It's about tuning into the emotional landscape rather than the literal meaning of the words. Understanding this isn't just about attraction, it's about connection. Women over 50 in particular respond to emotional depth, stability, and clarity. They've experienced life enough to see through superficial charm and empty gestures. They want to feel understood, safe, and valued. They want to know that a man is emotionally present, grounded, and capable of genuine intimacy. These two questions allow them to assess that safely. Your awareness transforms interactions. When a woman asks, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" And "What are you looking for these days?" She is not probing for trivial details. She is exploring your emotional availability and direction. Your responses can either reinforce her sense of safety and interest or create distance. By being calm, clear, and emotionally present, you invite her to lean in. You signal that she can step into your world without fear or hesitation. Beyond these questions, creating meaningful connection is about consistency. Emotional presence isn't limited to a single conversation. It's shown in the way you listen, the way you respond to subtle cues, and the energy you carry into each interaction. Deep listening, truly hearing the emotions behind her words, signals care and attention. It's the kind of awareness that nurtures trust, warmth, and attraction naturally. Connection also grows through thoughtful presence. Simple gestures, sharing a meaningful conversation, creating moments of quiet intimacy, or acknowledging her uniquely carry far more impact than material gifts or overt displays. Women remember how they felt in your presence more than what you said or did. Emotional resonance creates lasting bonds. Finally, intention matters. Every interaction, every response, every moment you share communicates something. When you respond to her questions with grounded clarity, you show that you are emotionally aware, intentional, and alive. Women are drawn to men who are awake inside, not just physically present. Emotional presence creates safety. Safety awakens desire, and desire grows naturally when trust and awareness are established. Remember, these moments are rare and precious. A woman rarely opens the same door twice. Recognizing her signals, understanding the purpose behind her questions, and responding with calm confidence is what allows you to move closer to genuine intimacy. This is not about manipulation or strategy. It's about presence, awareness, and emotional intelligence. By practicing these insights, you step into a new level of connection. You no longer miss subtle cues, you no longer misinterpret curiosity as casual conversation, and you no longer wonder whether she is interested. Instead, you respond with grounded confidence, clarity, and emotional availability. You become a man who is fully present, emotionally awake, and capable of meaningful intimacy at any age. Women communicate desire in subtle ways, and mature men who recognize and honor these cues are uniquely positioned to create deep, lasting connections. The first question checks your openness, the second your direction, and your presence answers both. Together, they create a bridge to emotional and physical closeness. By understanding, observing, and responding thoughtfully, you ensure that when a woman is ready to step closer, you are ready too. This is the essence of feminine psychology and attraction for men over 50. It's not about impressing, it's about presence. It's not about being perfect, it's about being awake. Emotional intelligence, clarity, and intention create trust, warmth, and desire. And once you see the signs, understand the questions, and respond with grounded confidence, you enter a space of meaningful connection that many men never experience. These lessons go beyond dating. They apply to every relationship, every conversation, and every moment where awareness, presence, and emotional clarity matter. When you recognize subtle signals, respond thoughtfully, and cultivate intentional connection, you not only attract the right partner, but you elevate every interaction, creating a life full of meaningful, lasting relationships. Presence, clarity, and emotional awareness are your tools. The two questions are her invitations. Notice them, respond with grounded confidence, and step into a connection that is genuine, rewarding, and deeply fulfilling. This is how mature men unlock the emotional doors women rarely open twice, and how they build relationships that are rooted in trust, intention, and authentic intimacy.